Bienvenidos a el Chuco Sportscast con tus anfitriones UTEP 25 y RedMT 25. ¿Qué pasó, mi gente? Es UTEP 25 otra vez. Bienvenidos a otro episodio del Chuco Sportscast, episodio 30. ¿Qué pasó, Mario?
¿Qué onda, bro? Everything's going well with me. How about you, man?
Estamos bien, dude. Y hoy tenemos un invitado. Se llama Oscar Gamez, also known as OGsensei. This is a good
How's
friend
it going,
of mine.
guys?
Hey, it's going great, OG.
Yeah, man. Good to have you on with us, man. It's good to be here, guys.
Yeah, so overall, we have been trying to do this segment called UTEP Tuesdays every Tuesday. And besides talking about UTEP stuff and El Paso sports, we also kind of want to highlight certain El Paso creators and just El Pasoans in general. And this is one of our good friends back home from EP. So we just wanted to, give a shout out as well as, talk a little bit. But at the current moment, what we're going to do to kind of start things off, we're going to just kind of
let's do it.
Share our stuff up the screen here. Alrighty. So before we start with that, sorry, sometimes the things are a little bit strange with the screen. Let's see, a ver. Okay, so we always like to start off our podcast with Spanish word of the day, palabra del día. Y palabra del día, el 19 de octubre es agobiado, which means overwhelmed. Por ejemplo, el problema es que está agobiada de trabajo, which means the problem is that she's overwhelmed with work. And we know how that shit is. And then the second ejemplo es, esta semana ha sido muy estresante y me he sentido agobiado. Me siento agobiado, perdóname, me leo incorrecto. So it says, this week has been very stressful and I feel overwhelmed. So, I feel that shit too.
Hey, I'm sure you guys are feeling agobiado with how the miners are doing, right?
Yeah, especialmente con eso, güey. Yeah, we were just about to transition into that, man. The UTEP Miners have been kicking ass. Like, let's kind of just look at their overall schedule. So the last game they just won was against LA Tech, and they beat them 19-3. Overall, as far as the statistics show, things were a little bit interesting in the beginning. We kind of had a little bit of issues with LA Tech. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because overall, UTEP was doing pretty well when it came to the overall passing. As you could see in the first quarter, they were 14-0. They pretty much scored the majority of their points within the first half. They even got a safety in the second quarter, which was interesting. Like, for the most part, they were pretty much holding LA Tech scoreless throughout the game until that field goal in the second quarter. As far as the advanced stats, if I may, yeah, there we go. Ándale, pues. So, as far as LA Tech, Austin Kendall had 3 interceptions. UTEP was just going on a rampage, shutting him down.
Jeez.
He had 164 yards, but yeah, 3 interceptions is a pretty big no-no there. And as far as the rushing yards, Marcus Williams Jr. had 42 yards, average of 6 yards per carry. Greg Garner with 26 yards. Austin Kendall did some rushing yards himself. Was a little bit more successful on that end. The receiving yards, Marcus Williams Jr. Marcus Williams Jr. is playing double duty on the rushing and receiving, and with 59 yards, he led both rushing and receiving yards. That's pretty crazy to have a running back lead in the receiving yards as well. Smoke Harris with 40 yards and average of 13 yards per carry. Kyle Maxwell with 30 yards. Griffin Herbert with 25. And then as far as the overall defense, Kyler Grubbs had a sack on UTEP, on Hardison. But for the most part, there really wasn't much going on for LA Tech's defense. They really could not hold UTEP very well throughout the game. I mean, the second half, they were a little bit more successful. I guess the offense on UTEP kind of tired out a bit. Speaking of UTEP's offense, we got Gavin Hardison with 283 yards and a touchdown. Not a bad day overall.
You mean an interception?
I read the wrong thing.
Yeah, he threw one interception, which was like, oh man, come on. But but even then, it's like, okay, still putting out that many yards really is a really good thing. This guy I haven't seen a guy this consistent since Trevor Vidito. Remember when I was in school? Even then, he put up good big numbers, but they just could not get over the hump in the end. That's what I feel is the difference between then, which was like last time they were like this good was 2010, which was my freshman year there. So this is I just see a big difference. So I'm glad, good for him, but he's got to be careful with those interceptions.
Yeah, he's just for the most part very inconsistent in general. Like there's been moments he has good, like I mean he had good yardage here, but it's just he sometimes is not as accurate. And as far as the rushing, Deion Hankins at 55 yards with 2 touchdowns rushing. Ronald Awat didn't have as big of a game as he's had in the past. Reynaldo Flores with 21 yards rushing. Hardison also had some rushing yards, but negative rushing yards. So not a very good day for Hardison in most categories, I guess. I mean, he had good rushing yards, so he was making some decent passes. As we can see in the receiving end, it was a pretty big day for Jacob Cowing with 166 yards. And then Reynaldo Flores had 48 yards on receiving.
Wow.
So pretty much a pretty good passing, like receiving core for UTEP in general. Mm-hmm. So that's what we got going for us. Our defense was killing it. Because look at this, Jadrian Taylor with 3.5 sacks. That's ridiculous, man. This guy was eating.
And then Torrey Richardson with that 1 interception. That's hey, it's something, man.
Yeah, this is a pretty good defense overall. And then also a secondary interception with Tyrese Knight. When it said that he had 3 interceptions, so who was the third one? That's odd.
Caldwell back up there. Oh no, that was Torrey. Yeah, my bad. Maybe it was one on special teams.
That's probably what it was, maybe. And then as far as punt kick returns, I mean, pretty decent day overall for the special teams. And then just freaking this defense has gotten pretty good over the past few games. And it's only going to get better from there. So, I mean, that's the exciting part about all of this. And then as far as what they have going on next, the next team that they face is Florida Atlantic on October 30th, the day before Halloween at 5 p.m. Overall, let's see their record. It doesn't really show their record, but I hear that they're not as, I think they're kind of like 500 or maybe a little less than 500 on the season right now.
Click on the team. Yeah, it'll tell you. It should tell you. Look at the standings. Actually,
standings. Yeah, that would make more sense, right? So they're overall 3-3. So they're 50 on the season.
But they're 3-0 at home, so they gotta, Miners gotta be really on top of their on their toes when it comes to that. I don't know if this is a home game or away game, but so. But looking at the schedule, people that they got to look out for, careful with Florida Atlantic because of their home record. But look at the UTSA, man. They're ranked 24
in the nation.
They are one of the 24 of the top 25 teams because they are undefeated. They're 7-0 right now. So, I mean, that's impressive. We haven't seen UTSA this good in a while. So that's the team that they have to be ready to play in November, man. So, and then UAB is actually not doing too bad either. So those two teams, they got to be ready for. North Texas has been struggling, but got to be careful. Rice, not much of a threat in my honest opinion, but UTSA and UAB, the two, they have to be, on top of their game. No mistakes, no interception, no nothing. They got to be ready to go. So where does UTSA, how are they compared to Boise State, which the Miners lost to?
I mean, overall, they've had a pretty overall good season as far as their main competition, as we can kind of tell here. They've faced places like Western Kentucky, like they've scored 52 points. So that's a pretty formidable team. 45 against Rice. I mean, Rice is not a very easy team. Yeah. I mean, but bear in mind, we also did get blown out by, sorry, bear with me a minute. Sometimes the thing wants to work with me. Sometimes it doesn't. We did get blown out by Boise. They beat UNLV. I said UNLV Kentucky.
UNLV is terrible this year, unfortunately.
I mean, these seem like terrible teams, but it's not in comparative to most teams. It's not a they're a very good team this year. There's no mistaking that. There's a reason that they are ranked. As far as the other teams that they face, I'm trying to make certain I get. Yeah, I'm trying to make certain this thing is. Yeah, see, I hate when the cursor just disappears. Yeah. See, you got to be quicker than that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they faced Memphis, Middle Tennessee, Lamar, Illinois. Illinois is a pretty decent football school, I think. SFA. So I mean, a lot of these other teams, it doesn't seem like great on paper, but they're still formidable. And we as UTEP cannot really take teams lightly, even within our conference. So they are a very good team this year comparatively to probably other teams in the nation. I don't know. It's debatable because they haven't really faced like bigger names, you could say, but they're still good enough to get you like 54, 45 points in a given game. So yeah, that's just something UTEP's defense is going to have a test against. I mean, they really struggled against Boise, but then again, it was earlier in the season. Not really certain how to guard against them, but hopefully they watch enough tape and get the job done against UTSA. I mean, I'm not expecting them to do it, but it would be nice if UTEP can get the win. Again, like as Mario said, Florida Atlantic would be the key here. If they do well, at least put up a good score against Florida Atlantic, that could be the momentum that can take them in to facing UTSA.
Yeah, and Boise was like maybe like their third or second game this season, right? And this is a fairly new team. So do you think that the experience over the last 5 games will prove, to be advantageous to UTEP going into playing UTSA, some of these better schools?
I would believe so because, working so hard to get to get these stretches after losing to Boise, it's just been, improvement nonstop. And I hope that they continue. Yes, you won against LA Tech. You are now bowl eligible. That's great and all, but you still got 5 games left in the season. Yeah. You guys, you shouldn't take your foot off the brake, because I remember my freshman year, they were doing well in the when they got to the halfway point, and the second half of the season, it felt like they just let their foot off the gas, like, oh, we're good. And they went, 500 that year. And it's like, dude, what the hell? So I pray that that doesn't happen again. It's like, dude. And then I heard a lot of the coaches say, hey, we are not done. We are far from done. I would like to see them go all the way and try to be one of the top teams in the conference this year, which we haven't seen in a long time. We haven't seen them this good, not since they were WAC champions in 2000. I looked up some old videos on Facebook of him showing that. It's like, bro, that's why I'm glad the coaches say we are not finished. We got to keep pushing forward and go all the way. It's like, yeah, Bulge was nice, but we're here to win the conference. So I would hope that all those games up till now I believe that they will be advantageous to them, because that's priceless, that experience for a lot of them. So
the experience, but my deal is, as much as the momentum has been carrying them, again with Florida Atlantic, this I think is a test of can they get more stops? Can Hardison get a good rep in before UTSA to at least get him something going? Because again, he is the main key here. Throughout the season, he's been very inconsistent. There's been moments, as I stated, where he gets good passing yardage, but he's thrown interceptions, or he has some touchdowns, but he's not really going much for the long game. And maybe they're being more conservative in some of those games. But if Hardison can limit his mistakes within this game and at UTSA, I think UTEP has a strong chance if the defense holds up the way it does, and because he has a very good receiving core. It's just getting Hardison to be more accurate. Yeah. The rush game, I don't know how UTSA's rush defense is this year, but I can only assume it's pretty daunting, considering that they've held a lot of teams to below 20 points. So that's just the thing that we're gonna have to play by ear on that. But my key is Hardison. If he can limit his mistakes, then I think UTEP may have a shot.
Yeah. I agree with that.
But overall, man, as far as just being bowl eligible in general, even if things do go maybe a little bit south, the fact that they are bowl eligible this year is nice within itself. Again, we hope they finish out the season strong, which I think they will. I mean, even if they beat Rice, North Texas, and UAB, that's still a strong end to the season.
Oh yeah.
Very
So-
strong end.
Yeah, so I mean, in general, UTEP is bowl eligible. It's the first time in a while that this has been the case. So with the victory on Saturday night, UTEP is eligible for the postseason. Dana Dimmel has shown that he belongs to Coach of the Year conversations thanks to the turnaround job he's done with the program. When wins were once so rare for this program, nation notices when you're able to rattle off 6 so quickly. So they are the bowl eligible for the first time since 2014. And it's been, as it says right here, you don't have to tell UTEP fans how miserable it's been to be a fan of this program for the better part of the last decade. And yes, we are aware. It has been a very hard 6 years, 7 years. And like we've had a lot of issues. And right now, again, as we've said in the previous podcast, there have been people that have just been like, well, they haven't played anything major. And I get it. Like Boise was pretty big, but we understand we're not at that point. But at this point right now, the fact that we are 6-1 is a success in itself, and we're bowl eligible. So we got to take every victory as it comes. So that's just how we got to approach it. But as far as they say, the problems that they're seeing for UTEP is the turnovers and the penalties. So
Yeah.
and this is mainly within this game, but maybe throughout the season they've been so actually the Miners have been penalized 56 times for 576 yards for the second highest totals in both categories, Conference USA. That's ridiculous. UTEP opponents have flagged 61 times this year, which is more than any other Conference USA opponent total, which is incredibly fortunate for UTEP. Regardless of your thoughts, UTEP's strength of schedule so far, UTEP has come in luck on their side based on this stat alone, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. See, right there, man, of course, like you said, with mistakes, you guys have got to, quit turning the ball over, which, they haven't turned over, terribly, but it's like still, you got to limit them. And then with those penalties, man, like, come on, guys, it just reminded me of the game with the Cowboys this past weekend. That was not their best game. I mean, I know that the Patriots are not, all that great since Brady left, but they're still a dangerous team.
Yeah, they're not pushovers.
And the mistakes, those turnovers, man. I mean, not turnovers. Those penalties that they racked up. It was like, bro, what are you guys doing? You guys have been pretty clean most of the season, and you get to this game and you're tripping over yourselves with those stuff. I mean, they still won, but it's like still. That's why looking at our Miners is like, you got to work on those damn penalties because they will be the difference maker whether you win or lose.
Most definitely. And as far as despite the turnovers, as it says here, their ground and pound game has been pretty strong overall. They're tied. Let's see. They've been getting it done offensively, and they are tied for the fewest sacks given up in Conference USA with just 7. So that O-line has been pretty strong throughout the season.
Yes, it has. And it's showing here the time of possession. They're controlling the ball, which is good. We haven't seen that in a long time from them. So, but like I said, with penalties, they got to make sure that they don't lose that control of time of possession. So,
yeah, and the run game is like they say adequate. So they with 165.1 yards per game with 10 touchdowns. The court converted on 4th down 9 out of 10 times this season, which is really good. It's really good. And as far as the defense, as I stated earlier, they're a very good defense, and they have a new sacks leader based out of UTEP, Jadrian Taylor, with 3.5 sacks. That, as we saw earlier, and he's the leader with 6.5 sacks in general.
Nice.
Or 6 and tied for first in the league, and also in
Very
tackles
good.
for loss. That's pretty damn amazing.
And I can see this guy making all defensive team at the end of the season. I really do.
Yeah, and then in general, LA Tech was just held to pretty much its lowest point total of the season. In general, it's been a very good season for UTEP, but the main issue stated within that area is something that they need to focus on greatly, because otherwise UTEP is going to get pretty much demolished like they did against Boise. Because I mean, those issues that they mentioned were very much apparent in that game. They couldn't hold anything. The penalties killed them, and they just couldn't get anything going. And as I stated, Hardison has to limit his mistakes, because in the Boise game, he threw I think he threw 3 interceptions in that game. So that's just something they got to work on. But overall, Oscar, what do you think about the whole situation as far as UTEP in general?
I mean, I think it's exciting to see the Miners perform the best they have in the last maybe decade, maybe even longer. You said the last time that they were bowl eligible was 2014, right? But I mean, let's be honest, they weren't that great of a team in 2014, or what was it, 2016 or no, 2014?
Yeah,
they got beat by the UNM Lobos pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like, bro, really? And then that's where the New Mexico Bowl was. So, I mean, I was there for the first one they went my freshman year, and they didn't do terrible, but they let BYU get the better of them. Yeah, and that was just upsetting. And then they go back to the same bowl and let Utah State run all over them. It's like, dude, come on, man. And that was my senior year. So it's like, shoot, come on, guys. And I just feel bad, like, for people like the Jones brothers, man, that were absolutely kick ass. That if they were on this team today, they would be running all over up and down the field.
Doubt.
You wouldn't believe, man.
No fucking doubt.
But the timing was not there for the Jones brothers. And but look at them now; they're successful NFL players. So I only have a lot of love for my alma mater. I always will, and that hopefully Coach Dimmel will be able to turn this team into a winning team. He has, but to continue on top of that. So
I think that's the important thing.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, that's the important thing. And also just to face, hopefully down the line, they get to the point where they're able to recruit a lot more so they can gain more talent to try and even compete with these bigger teams. Because, I mean, they're still trying to consider moving into the Mountain West at some point. And if UTEP can prove that they can hang with teams like that, then I think UTEP may have a shot of getting a little bit more.
Boise State was a test, because Boise State is in the Mountain West Conference. So they have to get more exposure to teams like that in order to be up there, because the teams that you have in the Mountain West are pretty good teams, schools that you would know. And it's like, you want to get up, you want to get into that conference. Come on, man. You gotta conquer this conference you're in first. And I believe they can do that now, as opposed to 10 years ago.
Yeah, agreed.
But overall, we're very excited for these Miners, right? And what were you about to say, Oscar? My bad. Sorry.
No. I was just gonna say, you guys were talking about them, not having a very strong schedule thus far, and people are saying that, well, they're playing, teams that are 0-6 and whatnot. But you got to remember, these are teams that the Miners lost to for the last 6 seasons. And it's good to see that, we're finally at a turning point with this team. And, this may not be our greatest season yet, but I think it's important to understand that this is a turning point for the team, and maybe this momentum will carry on for the years to come. And maybe at that point we will be a strong enough team to join a different conference, a better conference where we're seeing more competitive teams.
Yeah, that's what I would always wish for, because, I mean, come on, we're in Texas, for the love of God. Texas is a football state, so they got to be up there with all the other schools, because, like, there'll be times, they've played against some great Texas schools. Like, they've beaten Houston, which is a really good school. They've been up there with TCU, and they beat them. So it's like, and they've hung with UT Austin. And there's several times where I knew they should have beaten UT Austin. Yeah, but they just didn't have that mindset. I just feel like with the culture, with the previous guard in the athletics department, it just felt like there was just so much complacency. I no disrespect to Dr. Bob Dole, but I just feel there was no fire in the football team, and the people he would choose just seemed to peter out as the time went on. Like with Mike Price, when he first came here, the team was doing well, and there'd be times where I remember seeing sold out games with him. But as the years went on, it just seems like he seems to be losing steam and just not have the same fire, and just didn't happen. Then when you had Coach Kugler come in, it just didn't seem. It sent more of the same, more of the same. And then when we got a new athletics director, he seemed to go find the people. Okay, let's see if we can really build something here. So just seeing that, I just feel the athletics director, it seems to be improving athletics as a whole. There's still a lot of other a lot of the other teams that need some work, but compared to what we've lived through for so long, it's just like, okay, we seem to be on the right track for a lot of our teams, especially the football team, to have success. So all I can wish is just the best. That, hey, come on, don't get complacent. That's what I would hope that these guys do.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one of those things that I hope that things improve moving forward. Exactly. But at this point in time, I kind of want to move on to talk a little bit more about OGsensei, the day in life of OGsensei. So tell us about yourself, exactly what do you do, and how you even got into it. Let's just kind of start there.
All right. Well, I make YouTube videos. It's not like anything serious, right? It's more so for fun, but it's something that I've always wanted to do, and I'm sure you guys can relate. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we all had a lot of free time after that. And during that free time, I decided to pick up on making videos, and I started from scratch. I learned a bunch of different editing techniques on Premiere Pro that I didn't even know I could do. And, I studied Photoshop, After Effects and all that over the last year, and just made it happen. And it's been a lot of fun. I make gaming videos. And I think, Mario, you make gaming videos too, right?
Yeah, I just started getting into it because, just seeing everything. Because for the longest time, I would watch YouTube videos, but I never had an account. I'm like, I'm making an account, see, and then I just see everyone that I know, including you, that started getting into. It's like, you know what? Why didn't I have the thought about doing it? Because you look at a lot of these YouTubers, they've been doing this. A lot of them are our age, but they've been doing this for about 10 years already.
Yeah.
So they've already established, a worth ethic, how to create their videos, and they generated a huge following now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I look at us like, maybe I should have started this sooner, but nonetheless, I may be late to the scene, but I just like, what, now that I see it, being a musician and knowing editing, certain editing software that I do for music that I've learned. And then I looked at video editing. It's like, okay, you know what? A lot of these programs are making it so much easier for anybody to learn this. Mm-hmm. So I decided to, I got to do this, because I have a channel for music, and then I have a channel for gaming. And so I just started like this year. Well, late last year, I started getting into with my brother and I, and I do a reaction series. I know we don't have a lot of episodes right now, but it's a work in progress because of the pandemic. And then I was finishing up school and all that. But now I'm trying to do it on the regular, where we just pick like 3 videos to react to and post it. And then now I've chosen some games now that I have a PC to download games. Okay, I want to do videos for this game, and this game. And yeah, it's a little, I'm still learning as I go, because learning how to do OBS. I use Filmora, but I'm trying to find a different editing software to allow multi-tracks, because Filmora doesn't seem to show the different multi-tracks when I put it in there. So that's the tough part. I was told, hey, try DaVinci, try Adobe Premiere. I'll look into those programs to see if that'll help, because that's what you said you use, right?
Yeah. And I use Premiere Pro. I use Adobe. I have the subscription to all the programs. And yeah, you were mentioning multi-tracks, and that was one of the big issues that I had, trying to figure out how to separate my audio. And fortunately, Premiere Pro allows you to do that. So that was huge to have.
I see. And how much is the subscription to Adobe?
I don't know exactly. I think it's maybe somewhere around $50 a month. which is, it's a lot, but you get everything. I mean, you get everything they have to offer, which is like probably like 20 something programs. And
Damn.
it's really good. Yeah.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
have
But
to look into that then.
yeah.
'Cause,
And you were talking about, fortunately you had kind of a jump on everybody on all this because you guys already know music, you understand like how to set up mics and how to set up all the softwares for it. Because that's not easy to do.
Mm.
You go on YouTube and you try to find a video on that and you may not even find what you're looking for. There's some things that are so niche that there's not even a YouTube video out there for it.
Yeah, there's some things that I have certain issues on, and I can't find exactly what I'm looking for. I find something close
Yeah.
to, but not. But like you said, with this pandemic, it kept a lot of us home, and with school, when I was still in school for my graduate studies, it was we couldn't meet in person because, like I said, we're still in the middle of everything. So what we did was one of our combos I was in, we decided to do remote recording, and I never did it before. And I was still trying to get my PC, upgraded to the point where it could handle such things.
Yeah.
And of course, mic setups and all that. And it was a great experience because, like, oh man, I was using Pro Tools for audio recording, and that's a great program. It's been difficult to do the video because I have some issues with the drivers for some reason. I have to figure that out. But just doing that, recording stuff, recording whatever tunes we were working on, and then submitting it to our instructor to where he can mix and master it, and then record video to go with it. That was a cool experience. So I feel, and you saw a lot of music groups doing that same thing, remote recording, sending it to a guy to master, mix it, and all that. And it's like, bro, that's what I love about it. And even with gaming, it's brought us together in ways, even though we're not near each other, which of course you can't beat in-person contact. That's what we're meant. That's what we're meant for. But even then, this is a great substitute when we can't. And so I was hoping, man, in the future you and I can collab on maybe doing some.
Oh, for sure.
Co-op
And I've told you guys,
something.
Yeah. Whenever you guys are ready, let's do it. We'll coordinate something.
Yeah.
And we'll get it done. I'm down.
All right, man. No, that's why I'm glad. Hopefully we can bring you on more with our podcast here and other stuff too.
Yeah, I'm down.
Sweet, brother.
Yeah, most definitely. It would be a great asset to, connect, especially since we're all El Pasoans, and especially you and I, Oscar, we went to school together, so we're buddies and shit, buddy for life. But
yeah,
overall, like before we kind of continue, I just wanted to just see what your fandoms were, since we're a sports podcast. What teams do you stan?
Well, I have a couple of teams that I stan. I like my Chicago Bulls, my Seattle Seahawks, obviously my UTEP Miners. I'm not a Cowboy fan, unfortunately, but I'm also not a Cowboy hater, to be fair. And I also follow the Philadelphia Flyers, so teams from everywhere.
Oh, I see.
But my family was never really a big like sports family, so I kind of had to explore on my own. And that's how I came about, finding the teams that I follow.
Nice, man.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. Yeah, I mean, we're mainly Dallas stuff here.
Yeah.
But dude, that's freaking badass, man. It's definitely great to have like what you like. The Bulls are going to be great this year. Seahawks are in a bad situation with Russell Wilson being out and all that. But anyway, Oscar, it was definitely a pleasure having you on, man. You've been my buddy for a hell of a long time. I've known you since high school, and it's been a pleasure having you on here, man. I'm glad that you're doing well. Your channel has been really thriving, and you've been doing a lot of fun videos and video games, man. And I always enjoy watching your content, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I really enjoyed being here, and you guys have an awesome channel, and I hope you guys grow, and I hope your viewers subscribe to them. Okay, subscribe. They do some awesome coverage on El Paso sports, and they're just awesome guys, and you guys deserve all the success in the world. And I really hope that your channel just takes off, because you guys are amazing.
Muchísimas gracias, vato.
Yeah, bro. And we wish the same for you as well, man. Just seeing you, how you've come, because I watch you and your Phasmophobia videos. Those are fun to watch. And then now you're getting into, like Resident Evil, since that's the latest game out. Like I said, that's my goal for at least for me, since I'm starting out. I love the whole Resident Evil series. It's awesome. So I'm starting out at the very beginning, and then I'm gonna work my way up every game because
That's exciting.
Cool. I don't know. It's just a goal. And then, if you got recommendations for other games to try, let me know. I'm down.
And same for you, man. If you guys have any recommendations for me, I'm down too. And if you guys
Awesome.
want to do one of those like multiplayer games, like the what is it called, the Pacify? Those kind of like multiplayer.
Oh yeah,
games.
I've heard what that one is. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've heard a lot
I'm
about
down
that
for
one.
that too. I'm down.
Absolutely.
I
I'm
request.
absolutely, man. I'm down for anything. So we'll definitely be more in touch with you from now on.
All right.
And make something happen.
Sounds
Y
good.
por favor, mi
Alright.
gente, suscribe al canal de OGsensei. Please, por favor, please subscribe to his channel. Y también tienes otras cosas you have social media también, right?
Yeah, I do. I have like a Twitter
Yeah,
account.
definitely plug
and,
your social media and all that, man. Just let us know.
dude,
Follow him.
To be honest, I don't even remember that.
Okay, well, I do know that at least you're OGsensei 2 on Twitter.
Yeah.
And
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So por favor,
Just OGsensei. OGsensei.
OGsensei, síguelo.
Yeah, it's
Por
like,
favor.
you got to pop up. There shouldn't be that many OG senseis out there other than
Probably
you.
not.
It shouldn't be, because you're the only one that's unique to that. So like,
Oh man. All right, guys. Well, thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
absolutely.
Claro que sí,
Oscar.
güey.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. Algo con Dios, bro. And like I said, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, you guys too. Adios.
Arre pues, mi gente. Adiós. Paz. Go Miners.
Bye.
Go Miners.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Y también sigue a MarkTip25 en Spotify, Greenroom, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram y TikTok.